I'm back. So yeah, I think it's really cool, especially that the lady what she's pursuing, and I'm gonna mention it because it's a well-known university, especially for aeronautical um, engineering or aerospace engineering. Embry-Riddle. That is super impressive. I actually have a friend. I don't know what his GPA was, but he was decently smart. Like, he never got an F until he was 19. I've gotten a few Fs. I'm like, oh man. And then I brush it off, and it just doesn't, like, I got it when I was young, so it just didn't matter as much. Um, Disappointment and failure did not matter as much. And what I mean by that is, I read this story. Anyway, actually, I should finish about what I'm about to say about her and then go on to life lessons. Um, where it's basically like, I think it's super admirable that she is like looking at getting into those universities. Embry-Riddle is like very well known, very difficult, very well known. People graduate from there and they like go after their dreams. And I say congratulations. If she ends up pursuing there or deciding to go there, I would have to say that she will be like overwhelmed by men, because it's like out of it's a 1 to 4 ratio, or I think 1 to 4 ratio for females versus males. And so I still remember a friend of mine was like, yeah, there's so few females compared to so many males that he doesn't even try. But sometimes he'll go ahead and flaunt his stuff by wearing a suit. It's like, hey, you do you, boo. You do you. So, yeah, he graduated. What ended up happening though is that he got an F and he decided to change his major because the math was so hard. Smart guy, first time ever getting an F. I don't think he's ever gotten an F since then. So what ended up happening was that he ended up graduating with something else. He still hasn't told me. I'm a bit confused what it is. I think it's something to do with computers. But he got his master's in that. I'm very proud of him. Props, honestly, for getting that. I'm guessing if you get at least a master's, you can do something in aerospace engineering. Like if it's bachelor's, you can probably like teach a little here and there, make it a lower paying job or not as high secret. But if it's like a master's, then yeah, you kind of have to like be able to keep secrets, basically. So yeah, I thought it was super cool. Honestly, it really is. So anyways, aside from that, um, the tangent was basically going to be about, so he got 1 F and then he's like, this is too much, and he was stressed and such, and so he decided to switch majors. But I remember reading one story, a little girl, or I don't know how old she was, she might have been like middle school or maybe like a freshman. She was like a straight A student. She was staying up late and extremely stressed about like trying to make the perfect grades. And so I think there's a healthy balance. Like, you need to learn to study, know when to study, and then know when it's like, you know what, this is too much. I need to prioritize my health above anything else. And it's good to be a good go getter, because you're like, I'm not going to give up. But there comes a point in time where it's like, you know what? I need my mental health and I need my physical health more than anything, rather than having a breakdown. And I think this is what happens sometimes with geniuses, is that they have all this pressure to like be something great, which it's possible to be something great, but it's like, okay, are they enjoying life? If they're not enjoying life and prioritizing their health, then it's kind of pointless. So yeah, I'm getting water. So it's kind of pointless, and it's like, yeah, I can definitely see that. I really, really can. Part of me wishes I was off today. Why? So I can like ramble about this subject. So anyways, I'm doing the wrong thing. Come on. So anyways, what ends up happening is that this mom goes ahead and notices that her daughter is like, she's getting straight A's, major props. But with all this pressure, she's like stressed, she's staying up late, she has anxiety because she's like, oh no, I can't miss a single, like, I have to make straight A's all around. And I'm going to take a shower now. I'll see you later though. She's just extremely stressed, and it's like really bad for her mental health. And then finally the mom is like, listen, I want you to fail the test. And the daughter's like, no, like I can't fail this test. Like, she wants to do a good job, which is important to a certain degree, but not to the point of like suffering your mental health. And the mom's like, I will pay you. I think it was like, I don't know. It might have been like $10. It might have been $100. I can't remember. But the mom's whole goal was like, your mental health is more important because you're like super anxious about failing a test and like doing poorly. Which again, like being a go-getter can be a good thing. You will actually like do well, like, you know, go after the things that you really, really want and be like, nothing's going to stop me. I don't care. I'm going to get it. That's how my like former dance teacher at 48 years old. I know. At 48 years old, got Mrs. this state. And it's like, holy cow, you're 48. She looks incredible. Like, seriously. She looks better than I have ever looked. She has she works out all the time with her husband. Her kids work out. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, you look like great. Oh my goodness. And then she also recently got her PhD. Like, who does that at 48 while raising 2 kids and like having them go after their own like activities and such? And it's like, do you have free time ever? No? Okay, but they're gonna be go-getters, and I'm, you know, proud of them. So anyways, yeah, so she what ends up happening? So she's like, listen, I want you to fail this test. And so she goes ahead and she's like, I don't want you to study, just, you know, bomb it. So, ow, punch. There we go. Okay. Need to start at the bottom. There we go. So she ends up going in and completely bombing the test, like doing horribly. And and then after a while, she ends up not studying as much. I think she was still like making decent grades, like A's, B's instead of like perfect A's. And the teachers asked her like, what's going on? But the mom was like, do you see my little girl? Like, she's happy now, and she's like going down the hallways happy and smiling, and she's at home and she's not as anxious or stressed. And I was like, you go, mom, like, you go. And then just realizing these signs and realizing that, hey, you know what, like, this is what my daughter needs at this time. So yeah, where was I going with that? Yeah, so overall, I think, like, it's super admirable. I am proud of her also for being like, I'm going to apply for every scholarship out there, because Embry-Riddle is not cheap. It's not, like, at all. It's like maybe $40,000-$50,000. What I would also suggest, since it's a small town and it's not the most, like, educated, like, state, like, the education is decent, but it's also like bottom 5, 10 or something like that. What I would do, because it's going to be a major source of pride, since scholarships were mentioned. So basically all that to say, like, if she's like stressed or overwhelmed, just let her know it's okay to, this is what I would do, is that I would just let her know it's okay if you fail a test once in a while. Not like make a habit of it. Oh, I'm just going to fail every single test. Like, don't do that. But no, like, it's okay to fail a test, But if you're going to fail that test, rest, recoup, and then start studying again so that you make an A on the next one type deal. Or like, what, I need to rest and recoup for a few hours on Saturday. Go out, have fun. Go to that fair. Go to that like concert. Go on that date. I don't like go out with a group of friends for a few hours. And then like, okay, you know what? I feel good enough that I can go ahead and study. Or if you're like, I'm in the bathroom. The dog is Daisy is like hitting the door. Um, like go out and do that, but like no. Like go out and do that and then be like, okay, you know what, I feel good enough to study. Or if it's like, you know what, I still need a mental health a day, take the rest of the day off. Do what you need to do, like you feel like you need to do. Because like looking back at it now, I'm like, you know what, there are some days where I'm like, I need to do that. So like there's some days where I just like lie down in bed the entire day and I'm like, oh, I feel so lazy. But then looking back on it, I'm like, you know what? The very next day, I feel rejuvenated, and I'm like, okay, I can go ahead and do this. Like, I can take care of this stuff, and I feel highly motivated. So, yeah. I think, but yeah. So then once she's ready, go ahead and study. Like, study like crazy in order to get those good grades. And I think a healthy balance is really, really important of just knowing, like, okay, I need to study right now. I feel good enough to study. And then understanding, okay, there's times in which I need to sleep even though it's like, you know what, I need to pass this test. Honestly, it's found that if you go ahead and study and then sleep for like, what was it, at least a few hours or so, and then wake up and take a test, you end up doing better than if you go ahead and don't take that test. I mean, you end up doing better than if you did not nap and you instead studied. That is something else I would say. And then scholarships. So, oh, also in regards to scholarships, what I would do, because the education, like it's bottom, like for that state, it's bottom 5 or 10. What I would end up doing is that contact a lot of the local businesses and see if they would give you a grant or a scholarship or something like that for attending this college. And it might be $100, it might be $500. Does not matter because either way, like that $100 or that $500 can go toward the school, and it does add up, especially if you're contacting a bunch of places. And again, local town, a lot of local businesses might be willing to sponsor her or sponsor scholarship or grants. And it might be like, if she contacts 100 places and gets, let's say, $500 from each of those, $500, or 500 times 100, that could be like a 5,000, or no, that's $10. No, yes, maybe it's either 5,000 or 50, one of those two. I think it's 50. Yeah, I think it's 50. So honestly, yeah, I would, it might be 5,000, it might be 50. Either way, it's really, really good. And I would put it, like, make sure her parents or, like, maybe the bank or have them put it directly toward the school, one of those things. And then have it, if she ends up taking it, I would put it strictly in a savings account and be like, I'm not going to touch this unless it's, like, to pay for my tuition and like teaching good financial skills. And then once like that's paid for, then put it into like maybe a CD, so that way she could save it for, let's say the CD is for like a year, and then that way A, she has it saved, and then B, like she has it saved for the following school year, so that way it's all good and she even has interest on top of that. So that's what I honestly would do. That is again very, very exciting. And then this way, whatever money is left over, she can go ahead and apply it for the following year. um, I would talk to law firms because law firms might be willing to give a decent amount of scholarship. So yeah, that's just me like learning from all. I like being older because it's like here's all this nugget of knowledge and then so yeah, I personally am a fan of lawyers. I am. Maybe not, some lawyers are good, some lawyers might be crooked, but yeah. Anyways, I will talk to you later. I have to get ready, and then yeah, I hope that you have a great day. Let me know if there's anything else you want to talk about, and I'll respond. I don't know when. Maybe tonight. I don't know what time. So I have work from 3 until 11. So yeah, talk to you later. Bye.